right, guys, everybody on Zoom. This is training session number 2 with Missy from CoStar.
Okay, and I hope y'all can hear me and see the screen. So today we're going to be doing course level information number 2. So the plan of action I thought would be really helpful is to go through some of the reports that you can print for your clients and put together. So if you're putting together a property list or a sales comp report, or running through just getting information for your client, I thought reports would be something good to cover as you get more into it. And then that'll take the bulk of the time. We're going to keep it around to what we did last time, 30 to 45 minutes, so that you don't start falling asleep with the weather. And then I'll open it up to questions after going through the different reports we can pull. So that's the plan of action. All right. So I'm hoping everyone can see my screen. Just starting first with property level reports. I'm sure a lot of you have clients looking for requirements and you put in specific requirements. Does anyone have something they're looking for right now that to use as an example? All right. So property for lease. All right. So as we come in here, any specific area? All right, perfect. Okay, so as we come in and let's say we are zeroing in on an area, and let's say I want to create a radius in this area. Again, we have different geographical functions for everything. And typically with the radius, it opens up like this. But I personally like to just draw by swiping it out. You click and hold it out, and then you can edit the button. Okay. So if I were to click into this one, I can say, okay, 0.62 miles. I'm going to do about a 2-mile function from this area. Oh, I can even minimize that a little bit. There we go. So let's say we're getting in this area and we need for lease, retail, and we can put in some secondary functionality or just type in a keyword. So throughout this time, I'm going to put in little tips. And keyword search is a good way to just add something like auto. Oh, that took away everything. Let's see. So let's just keep these right here. We have retail for lease, and we're looking for a specific square footage available. And so I can look through some of these and minimize and say, okay, well, this one doesn't work. And this is one of those natural functionalities that you get rid of the ones that aren't going to work. And then you start to cull through them. So I'm just going to remove some of these different ones that aren't working and really narrow down. So right now I have 10 properties, 18 spaces. And I can see, okay, that might work. That might work. That one's not going to work. This one might work. And I'm just using this as an example. So let's say you've culled down the list to the area that you want. Now, first I would do is save this search. So if you get kicked out or something happens to your search or you want to pull it back up later or none of these work, you already have all your filters saved. So you would save current search, put in a name for it. I'll put test. Then you would enable alerts. Okay. You can also save a snapshot. I want to make sure you know the difference. If I save snapshot, it's not a live search. It's not going to alert me of everything. It won't remove things that no longer are available. So it's not a live search. If I don't check this, it's a live search. So it's constantly running through those filters on the back end, and it's going to get rid of anything that doesn't match, and it's going to add things that do match. So it's a live search. You can also share this with someone else, but they have to have CoStar. So that would be more if you're co-brokering with someone. Okay. And then a lot of my clients like to create folders. So if you have different requirements for one single owner or one single tenant that you're working with, you could say, okay, I want to create a new folder. This one's for Bob, and I'm going to put all of his searches in this folder. And so there's different things you can do with that. And then you would simply click save. Okay. I'm going to X out of that. And then let's say we're ready to send a survey to Bob. So there's a few ways. Right now we have 7 properties, 10 spaces. So we can just select the ones that we like, want to send him right now and send him a few later, or you can send him the whole list. So if I check off just some of these and then click reports, you'll notice in the top right hand, in the top, properties to include in the report, just those ones I selected with the checkbox or entire search. So that would not matter about the checkboxes. It's just going to do all 10 properties in the spaces, or all 7 properties with the 10 spaces. Now, some of the best reports that people like are up here, but I would encourage you to go through. There's about 150 different reports to pull. And I have some clients that still use some of our older ones because they love them. And one way you can check to see what it would look like is if you don't check off the box, you just come in here and check on the side. Now, for this search, if I'm sending it to someone, the ones that people like the most are property map and list. So that's going to map the different ones and then give you a nice little list view. Okay, so I'm going to check that box and then property summary report. The other one is space availability, the report with photo. Okay, so these are some ones that I would build. Now, keep in mind, you can select up to 6 reports for one bundle. So if you're dealing in retail or multifamily or maybe hospitality, then at the very bottom, I would encourage you to look through and say, maybe send a demographic detail report and a traffic count report. Okay, so far I have selected property map and list, space availability report, demographic detail, and then traffic counts. And you can save this bundle so you're not having to go in and check every time. You can just save the bundle on the next screen. So now I can see here's the different reports that are going, and each of them are going to have slightly different filters or things that are included in it. So property map and list, you can add a page header, Bob's Auto Shop, or possible options for this location. So you can add a page header if you want. And then as I scroll down, you can see, okay, demographic detail and traffic count, display rental rates. So every report's going to have a few different options. Now, something that's really important is on one of them, on one of the reports, it might say include all contacts. Now, make sure you remove the contacts because you don't want your client going to someone else to lease a space. And so always take a look at all the different reports and make sure you have selected the different details that you want for each of them. I selected those. Yeah. So here's reports. And then if you scroll to the very bottom, I selected demographic detail and traffic count. We also have consumer spending, daytime employment. I mean, there's some really good ones in there. In some of our future classes, I want to go through some of the retail reports specifically because like the retail tenant frequency report and comprehensive site report are good ones. But I would encourage you click through some of these and get an idea for what they look like. Leasing activity, custom market report. There's some really good ones in here. So then click next. Now you can put on a legal disclaimer. To me, that's also an opportunity to type whatever notes you want. It doesn't say legal disclaimer and then the text, it just says your text. So I like to put my phone number on there and maybe an email address and a name. So it shows you. Now your logo is already going to be on the bottom left-hand side with your name, but I like to put my name, phone number, and email address. So if they ever find that report in the future, they know who got them for them and how great y'all are, because you got all this information over to you. You can also include a survey criteria page if you wanted to, or include a cover page. And what's neat about the cover page is it can look very professional if you load the client's logo and contacts. So prepared for, and you can create a new client and add their logo for later. Now, I don't have any logos loaded, but it's something neat to add. And a lot of this is just mess around. You can't break CoStar, click on everything and be curious when you're going through it. And then I will generate that report. Who in here has printed a report for a client? Perfect. Good. Is some of this new information that you're learning, or at least just to touch on? Okay. Perfect. Now, this report, it always comes in PDF form, and you can download it or print it. Most of the time, I would say to download it and then send it to your client as an attachment. Okay. And then you'll see here's my logo, and then this is what it looks like with my information right here. So it makes it easy to kind of identify and like, oh, okay, I'm going to call them. But always, brand yourself and who you are when you're sending those reports. Mm-hmm. Yep. I just created my radius and then clicked on reports. Yeah. Simple as that. Now, another thing you can do is sometimes you might have a client that needs more detailed information, or you just want to get more detailed information. So if you click here, more, we have some different options. Let me see. I'm going to minimize this. There we go. So we can do more export. There's also edit results, added or removed properties, but let's click more export. Okay, so this is exporting into an Excel document. Okay, so this would be maybe if you need a deep demographic deep dive, or you want ownership and all the details and you want to save this for later. This is great for prospecting. If you want just all the information that you can edit on your own. The only thing that doesn't export are email addresses. And that was just a promise we made to clients in 1987. Just kidding. But I don't think anywhere you can export big email lists. And so here we have a selected default layout. Okay, so you can see in this column, we have all these fields. These are going to be the columns on your spreadsheet that are there. On the left-hand side, these are all the available columns if you wanted to add to your spreadsheet. Now, under this default list, you'll notice we have some predefined layouts. So let's say you're working on industrial. The ones on the right include more details like expenses and ceiling height, power, features. So there's more industrial. If we switched it to multifamily or retail or student, it would be more about those. So to me, these are great places to get started based on how you're going through. But I've also created my own layouts. And sometimes you don't need a big one. You just need a little detail. So here's for sale listings or demographic profile or rent comps. So there's different things you can do with these. And so if I were to move one over, say, oh, I want to add amenities to this, and then save as, and then rent comp 2, save. So now you can save each folder. So this first time it may take a second, but always save it. That way you're not putting in all the columns, because there's up to 256 different data points in here, and some really good ones like flood zone and price and land area, leasing company name. So lots of good options. But also you notice we're on the property section. The only other thing you would want to export ever is the demographics. So let's say I really just want a few fields in here. So I'm going to say, okay, property address, property name, and then I'm going to all of this out of here. So let's say I only want those two. I'm going to move that out, but I do want some demographics in here. So this would be if you're pulling a very detailed demographic report. We're getting all this from Newstar and Esri. And then I can say, okay, I know I need income. So current income within 1 mile, and I want 2023 average household income. I also want population. Okay, so then I can say 2023 total population within 1 mile, and then maybe projected 2028 population. So you can see I'm just creating my own demographic profile, and there are so many details that you can go. I mean, housing values, you can say travel, let's see, occupation, consumer spending. And so anything you might want to need. And this really goes for any property type that wants to know about the area that they're in. And so go through this and you can see a lot of this information. But look, you can move every demographic profile over and you have a full list. And then you would export or save as and then export and it'll go into an Excel file. Neat. Raise your hand if you could imagine using this for some of your clients. Okay, good. That's what I like to hear. Okay. So next we have, let's say in this area, you want to make sure that you're getting a good deal on your rents, and you want to be able to negotiate with the landlord that you're about to negotiate with. Okay, so right now we just have what's for lease and retail, and we selected. I'm going to keep the same area, and I'm just going to do the same radius. Okay. And then property type retail. So now I'm not just looking for what's for lease. I'm looking at every retail property in this area. Okay. So from here, I can flip it over to analytics. And let's say an auto body shop might be 1, 2, or 3 stars. So that gets rid of all the brand new builds thinking of. And just to remind you, star rating is the quality of a property. It removes location. It's purely based on when was it built, the energy rating, what's the roof look like, what's the landscaping look like. I mean, it's like when you stay in a 5-star hotel, that's the top of the top. So if I'm not selecting the 4th and 5th star, I'm removing those class A properties. So now we're just looking at class B and C. Okay. So now I have retail in this circle, 1, 2, or 3 star properties. And now I'm just going to click analytics. Now this is going to give you baseline statistics on this information, which is great. You can quickly look at fair market value. So if someone's asking you what's fair market value around 290 and 610, boom, about $22 a square foot. That's what we're looking at. That's asking rates and closed deals right now. Okay, what's vacancy rate right there for retail? 30% vacancy in this area. What does this tell me? There's some good negotiating power right there. Okay, market price per square foot. If you're pricing a retail strip center in this area, this is your baseline. Are you going to die on this hill? No, but it gives you a great starting point with where to work your magic. This is that first starting point. And so you can print this chart and all of this detail. And boy, do I tell you, your clients are like, wow, this is great. I mean, hey, you have all the same details that some of the huge shops do because that's where they're getting this information. And so you can print this exact chart. It opens up a new window. And we can see Microsoft Print to PDF. And this is what it looks like. So you can see how many vacant square feet there are, asking price, rental rate, availability rate. And you know what's interesting is so market asking rent per square foot, 2208. Okay. Right here it says available asking rents. So this is what's currently available, and this is what's happening right now. So this includes lease comps and lease deals. So available asking rates is a little different. This is what are people asking for. So rents have been lowered recently in this time. And then we can see key performance indicators. Okay, this is something I'll go through that in just a second. And then all of these different charts. And so this could be for you to go through, maybe not leave it with your client because it's all how the cookies are made, but gives you a lot of negotiating power to share with landlords or other brokers. Okay. Tell me where you're getting this data. You're trying to ask me for $25 a square foot. People are asking for $18 a square foot right now. You know, this is how you would use that to negotiate. Pretty neat. Okay. So that's this chart in this report. And then you can also export this data. Do you have something
Yeah. Where does the available asking rent come from?
available? So that's looking at what's for lease in that area. And it averages that out. And what we use is modeling, depending whether it's full service or triple net. And so we use modeling to make sure it's weighted based on that amount.
And then how's that different from the other rent that you showed us?
So the other one includes deals that were just done.
Okay.
So when you're looking at this one, 2208, this is recent
So
deals.
that's closed.
Yep,
Okay. Got it.
exactly. And including all of it. Because this is on available asking rent. It is interesting. And if you hover over these, a lot of times you can see what it was last time. And we can look down here to key performance indicators as well. So this is an analytical KPI, key performance indicators, bar and whisker chart. So by looking at this, the real graph is right here. So you can see there was some big move outs in 2017. They probably tore something down, or big tenant moved out of this area. But here vacancy has stayed pretty steady, gone down a little bit. But this chart is going to say, okay, out of the last 10 years, so we're looking at a 10-year time range, the average vacancy for this area is about 21%. Okay, and that's within these 154 retail properties. That's what we're looking at. Right now, vacancy is at 30%. Okay, so you can see it's red because it's above the average. Absorption is negative 9,000 square feet. So that means 9,000 square feet have moved out of this area on the net. So more move outs than move ins. So if it was a positive number, there'd be more move ins. We can see the extremes. Okay, so these brackets are the extremes over the last 10 years, and then the blue is the typical range. So if I were to change this to 3 years, you can see in the past 3 years, it's actually doing better on vacancy. So it's headed in the right direction. Isn't that crazy? But it gives you so much detail, and it makes you realize how brokers use this information. You get the information to tell the story that you want to tell. Okay. And so depending on how you look at it, because if I were looking at 10 years, I could show this chart. This would be my negotiating chart for the tenant, and this one would be my negotiating chart for the landlord. So using it on both sides can really help you. And you're banking on the fact that someone doesn't know all the things you do and how to use this, which is fun. Okay. So that is analytics. And think about how you can use this information. So it's not just for one little area. No matter what you're searching for, you can use that detail. Okay. So if we were looking in an area for sales or what's happening with multifamily, so depending on your property type, that chart changes. Okay. So if we just wanted to do, what's going on in Edo multifamily. And we can say this is class C. Let's say what's going on with class A multifamily in that area, new properties, and we can compare them. Another way you could use this chart, and this one we'll spend more time on later, is let's say I want to compare class A to class B and C in a specific area. Is there ever a time when you're like, okay, well, how is this property type? How are the nicer properties comparing to the less nice properties? So in this instant, I'm going to save. So this current search, I'm going to say Edo. I'm going to put this Edo class A multifamily. Save. And then I'm going to change it up and do 1, 2, and 3 star. Okay, so I mean, it's changing all the data on the back end, and I'm going to save that search. This is a quick way to do class A versus class B. And I'm going to save as new search. So, class B, multifamily. So think of this for anything you're working with and then save. Okay, so now we just have 2 saved searches. Okay, very simple. And then think about the data point you want to compare. So if we're looking at market rent, asking rent per unit. So think if this was price per square foot, vacancy, how's occupancy, leasing. So any chart you want to do. And then you can see this gear. So right now we're on the class B, but I'm going to compare to, let's see. Oh, there we go. And I said Edo. Oh yeah, Edo class A, Edo class B. There we go. So now I have market asking rent, and I can uncheck this one. So I have green. Oh, go down. Oh, well, you can see it right here on the graph. So green is class B, market asking rents, and class A. So here's 1422 versus 947 in the forecast. But it gives you such a good comparison for anything. We could change this and say, okay, well, how is vacancy rate for A versus B? Okay, so now it's changing my graph and it's going to keep my settings. Is this difficult? Is that easy to follow? Maybe if it doesn't open up. Let's try that again. Okay, it's opening. So here's vacancy rate. And now we have, oh, now this gives me such good information. So, okay, so here we have historical vacancy rate for multifamily and Edo for class A versus class B. And it crossed boundaries, you can see right here in 2022. This would say if you're working and then it's separated, and you can see class B and C down here, and then class A is dipping. So this is a good time to get someone who wants to invest and say, hey, right now, vacancy in class B and C is doing just as well as vacancy in class A. Now, it would be a good time to maybe renovate some of your B and C properties because in the future it's going to go down, but people are moving there right now. So I would lower your rents, get more people involved. And then here we have this. So just think about how you can use this information. And when you're bringing this detail to your clients, you're the expert. You know so much about what's going on in that small submarket. And so as a grander stance, no matter what property type, no matter what class or anything, you can compare and be the most knowledgeable person in the room and have the reporting to back it up. Isn't that neat? Pretty cool. We can even do cap rates. So if we wanted to look at cap rates, so any kind of data point. Oh, look, only one is sold in Class A. It's only 19 properties in that area, but think anything you're working with in that area. So just to backtrack a little, and if you want to compare two different things, you can even compare. I mean, imagine if you're comparing Galleria to downtown to Energy Corridor, an office. Think if someone's trying to figure out, what rents am I going to pay if I get in that area versus that area? Anything you want to compare, you save the search, you run the search, save it, then run the next search, save it, and then click on analytics and you click on the gear. Okay. And I can do this one-on-one with anyone later. Okay. So moving over to sales. Now we finished a lot of the reporting in properties. Now sales comps works a very similar way. So if you're running, anyone have a comp that they need? Yeah. Oh, my back is hurt. FM 24. Oh, 24779. Got it. Got it. So in New Caney, multifamily property. So this is a great start to how you would do a comp report. Okay, so I like to pull up that property. Okay, and this one's a different one. So of course, we're just looking for the area. You should know on the back end how big it is and how much detail. So sometimes I like to have multiple windows open at once. So I would have one in the sales and one in the property. Okay. So I'm going to click this because I just want to look at the details. 779? Two. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So if I'm looking at this property, oh, is it a mobile home park? Oh, wow. That's fun. Okay. Perfect. So yeah. Well, I was going to say if it's multifamily, then I mean, there's probably a lot more. Hmm. No, but that's good. Okay, so here's a location. So with such a niche product, you're probably not going to use a radius. You're going to kind of keep going out of that area. So what I'm going to do is click clear and I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to go just start with a little radius and let's say 10 miles for now. Okay. And then it automatically defaults to after 6/5/22. Okay. So these are the numbers you play with because your goal is going to be to get 3 to 4 really good comps. I think more if you can, obviously, but sometimes, especially with a niche, it's hard to find even 3 or 4 with pricing. Okay. So then a little trick is sale price, put a 1. Okay. And then uncheck this include. Okay, so far all we have done is the radius after this date and at least $1. What I'm telling the system is it has to have a price. Okay, it has to be listed there. And then I'm going to click on filters. Now, sometimes you don't want to go with a primary property type if it's a niche product. So I'm going to click down here straight to secondary type. And I believe it's manufactured housing mobile home park. Okay. And I'm going to do the other one as well, just in case they're student. Who knows? There we go. So obviously this 10-mile radius isn't giving us much. Okay. With the price. So now I'm going to take, yep, I'd probably do that second. So first you want to get the ones that are exactly like it in the area. And look, here's 5 in this section. So this will give you a good starting point. And then I would include the land ones. But this 5 is a good start. All of these 5 are a mobile home park and they have a dollar amount associated with it. So that's a good start. Can I send it to you? Yeah. You can save it and share. Remind me your name. Oh, yeah. Yep. What was your last name? Oh, got it. You don't have access yet to CoStar? Oh, you're gonna get it today, aren't you? I'm just kidding. But that's good. Mhm. Okay. Remind me of your name. Oh, yeah, yeah. Gosh. He's good. Good. What was your last name? Oh, that's what it was. I was like, I was close. Okay. And then we'll put mobile. Z Mobile. Z My phone service is Z Mobile. There we go. Save. Okay, so it's going to send it to him, which is nice. Okay, so then what you would do, so you saved that search. I would always set an alert in case anything else pops up in that area. And then you would reports. Okay, and then the same thing we did earlier. A lot of people like the map and list report to start, like here's where they are. Or if they're too far, you don't want to show them a map, you just want to give them addresses. You would do the sales comp summary report. That is 1 page per comp. Okay. That's what I'm about to say. And then another thing is quick stats report. This gives you a low, average, median, and high. And I would probably use this if you have lots of comps. So that way you're giving that median and average and say, hey, here's the average. You're on the high end. Great for negotiating, lots of things. Some other thing are trend reports. Where's the trends in this area going? So always look through some of the other reports that are there. But for this one, we're just going to do the sales comp summary report. Click next. And this one does remove. Let's click back. I want to give you an example. A lot of people still like this comp detail sheet. And you can see print contact info. No, uncheck. Income expense, yeah, plat maps, my notes. I haven't taken any notes. Let's remove that section. I want property info. I want the property notes. Transaction notes, absolutely. And then you would click generate. And so always, pull up some of the different reports and look at the data and see what it offers you. Gives you a good example of what to kind of get in there. Well, I'm getting old. My back is hurting. I think it's the weather. It's definitely the weather. Okay. So here's the sales comp summary report. Now, on that summary report, that's what I was sure of. On that one, it always gives that contact information. And so that's something to consider. But it is good if it's just being printed for you, but it is a nice way. And you can see market at the time of the sale, different information. And then I want you to see the older one. Okay, so there's those 5. And then we have, sales comp. Are these the same? Oh no, here we go. That's there. Look, it gave you this nearby sales comparables. That's pretty neat. So this is the older one. It does where it is on the map, a picture. I still have a lot of people that use this one as well. Okay. So good little reports, income and expense data. Look, it even gives the NOI on this one. So there's some good details on a lot of these. We only put NOI if they gave it to us. Yeah. Yep. That's exactly right. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Yeah. Because we don't, that's something we can't really get. And it had an NOI on there. Real numbers. Yeah. Because not everyone has it. We're not going to put it on that. So definitely not. Good. 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 The other thing is analytics. You'll notice across the platform, it's pretty simple. Map, list, analytics. So you can also click on analytical view and it gives you, look, this is really good for negotiating or just knowing sale versus asking price. Okay, so there's an 18% discount on average for these properties. Price per unit, 112, so per stall on the mobile home park, and then 6 months to sell. This is one of my favorite charts. If you get a listing from someone and they're like, okay, and a lot of times it's more than 6 months. They're like, okay, I'll sign a 3-month exclusive with you. You're like, excuse me, sir. It takes an average of 8.9 months to sell in this area. No, it doesn't. Okay, I'll prove it. This is your proof. Like, hey, I just pulled similar properties, average of 8.9 months. Sir, give me 8 months. Give me 9 months. Give me a 1-year exclusive and I'll get it sold. So use this for sure to get those exclusives signed. I don't know. Everyone wants a mobile home park or a parking lot. Uh-huh. Exactly. So on the map, we're just now getting to 344. So we're gonna finish. What questions do we have? Yeah. Oh, is anyone on the Zoom?
The comparables, you were saying that you can do another one and then cross them?
So you'd have 2 different reports, but like if you did a land one for that same one, you would have a different report.
Okay.
Because they're going to have a little bit. I mean, you could technically put in that area property type land and mobile home park
And do both.
and
at
do
the
all
same
in
time.
one.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Mhm.
Are you able to do a search based mainly on demographic and traffic count specifically?
Not traffic
not asset
counts, but
class.
yes, demographics.
But not on traffic
But
counts.
not
That's
on
what I was
traffic
wondering. Are you
counts.
guys going to add that anytime soon?
I'm hoping we're about to
Because that would
get,
help a lot.
I know. Well, and most people, what they do is they search by demographic. So let's say, let me make this smaller again. So you'll come in here and say, I'm looking for, and it's just scrolled down.
Mhm.
Always switch it to United States and say, okay, I need average household income to be at least 75,000, population in the area to be at least 11,000. And I want it to be the average age, just between 30
35 and 55, I guess.
yeah, 34, 55 within 1 mile. So there's lots of different, you can search
That's
by,
what will come up. And that'll show properties that are on the market as well as off the market.
yep.
Yeah.
And then let's say, I want less detail. There we go.
So what do you
Okay.
need less detail. What did you change? The
Oh, I
population?
just changed it from 11,000 to
Oh, it's 18.
population.
So you don't have so many options. 11,000 is
Mhm.
a small.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so let's say you're looking at, and this is great for if you're working for a tenant or a retailer or a
Yeah.
developer. I mean, this could be used for anything. And then let's say, okay, well, this area looks promising. So you'd zoom in on this area and then you could put in, for sale, for lease, or also put in. So I just clicked on layers and then traffic counts.
That's what it was. Okay.
Yep. So you're not technically filtering by traffic counts, but at least you're visualizing where the demographic properties
And
match your traffic count.
correct. Okay. Perfect.
And
Perfect.
you
Thank
could hide the search results and not. Good question. Yeah, we are looking at, we signed something with a mobility company, which is great to get, because this traffic count company is Calibrate. They update every summer for the previous year, but it's way better than TxDOT. So it's great for what we have. But mobility data is going to give us stronger based on actual cell phones rather than just. Oh yeah, no, I wouldn't go to TxDOT. TxDOT's like 2018, 2017. All of ours right now are saying 2022 and they're about to update to 2023. So I would always use this. Yeah, Placer AI uses mobility data, and that is, we're getting the data from the same people they get their API from. Yeah, Placer AI is expensive too. So hopefully, and this covers most of it, all that what you need. Yeah, they're like I know. They're like mom figures who are short are traveling in this section of town. Like that's very detailed. And I'm like, stop tracking me. I am there though. Okay, I'm at Starbucks at 4 p.m. I'm just kidding. Exactly. Yeah, we're hoping to get a lot of that detail in here. Any other questions? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. Got it. There you go. There you go. No, I would do layers with this. That'll help a lot. Good. Good session. Learned a lot. We'll do it again next month. I have some more fun things for next month. I think next month we're going to focus more on, and I know it's July 5th, but hopefully everyone's back in town. We might, if we need to change it, we can.
Yeah, well, we're all going to celebrate Ashley's
Yeah,
birthday,
we're going to
too,
celebrate it. Yeah.
but we might have to move it a week. Just to
Yeah,
give everybody time.
That's fine. And then what I hope to go through is more, so this was more list level reports. I want to focus on single properties and doing deep dives and building performas and looking through the financials of similars and building an underwriting report. So that's what we'll go through next time, and just how to create a whole thing for one property rather than a group of properties.
Anybody on Zoom got any questions? I think we're about to shut it down here.
Oh, manual. Oh, got it. He's negotiating right now.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. That's funny. Oh, Ada. Hey, girl. And Melanie.
All right, guys. Well, if nobody else on Zoom has any questions, no more questions here. I think we're done.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Miss.
Have a